So I was watching this episode of Terroriser and actually playing the game of Red Dead 2, and he was doing a live stream. And a little more part in the middle about the stream, I would say, like maybe like close to the middle area, maybe I forgot what it was. I think it was like close to the middle and then go forward a little bit. He saw something about in the comments about like the volcano in Pompeii, okay? And well, out of all of the jokes made by him, okay, let's just say that, and jokes by him and his friends and all that type of stuff that were, I think, in the comments that he read even throughout the stream, he gets offended, or you could say gets a little triggered by this comment. And his response goes a little like this.
Do you have interest in playing Elden Ring in February?
A romantic volcano.
I wish I had the Congo River.
Romantic? What's romantic about the volcano and the demise of the people of Pompeii? Does that make your dick hard? Romantic demise of Pompeii! Oh, let's have a beautiful photo in front of the end of a civilization! How is that romantic? Oh, nothing gets me harder than seeing the covered remains of a family in a fetal position, covered in ash, as they died miserably, painfully, in searing pain of heat of molten lava falling on their skin. Nothing gets me harder.
Skirt, I couldn't afford the. It's just so exotic.
What the fuck? Romantic volcano.
That you feel comfortable with?
Well, this is dignified.
Now here's the thing. He mentioned the bodies burned to a crisp and the lava coming down on them. Okay. And is that what happened? Is that what happened though? I studying Pompeii, and then watching people like this comment just ridiculous claims, I think is kind of stupid. It's very interesting to look at Pompeii and study the people and the society that was there, but these people were not innocent at all. These people were not innocent. The government was not innocent. Pompeii was part of Rome. And if you ever did a study on Rome, you would agree with me saying that, yeah, these people were pretty bad, okay? Now here's the thing, okay? Is what happened what he said, okay? Did the lava come down and burn them to a crisp? Or was it the ash that covered their bodies and they died within 10 minutes? And actually, to be very honest, this event happened, and some people are saying, some studies are saying that this event happened so fast that the people had no idea what was happening, okay? They had no idea what was happening. And I think we can actually see that in a lot of the findings of the bodies. They're just laying there. There's a dog that's like scratching its back. There's people sleeping, okay? So the heat was so strong that it looks like it killed them within seconds. So there might have not actually been pain. So according to science, when the volcano erupted, which is called Mount Vesuvius, we're gonna call it that, okay? Vesuvius. All the main damage, when it actually officially reached the city, took place at about 6 in the morning, okay? There were like 6 surges, that's what they call it. And at about the 3rd surge, you could say, it actually reached the city of Pompeii. So I want to take a look at what happened a little bit to the city of Pompeii, okay? A little bit deeper. And I'm gonna have to block out a lot of words because this is kind of, some of the stuff that I'm going to say is not exactly child friendly. So I mean, if you're interested in history and you want the full take on what happened in Pompeii, then listen up. But if you don't and you don't care, then skip ahead, or don't even skip ahead, turn the video off and go to another video, because this whole video is going to be about Pompeii and what they did and the government of Rome. Okay, and it's not going to be long, it's going to be like short and simple. So when we look at Pompeii, I have seen many websites, okay, when we look at and we start off of Pompeii, many websites have always started off saying, why Pompeii would be a great place to live. And I cringed when I saw that title. I'm like, holy crap, are you kidding me? Why Pompeii would be a great place to live? What? And I saw another one was like, Pompeii was not that bad. Archaeologists would just, what? So every title that I really saw was like that. But is it a great place to live, or was it a good place to live, I could say, you know, back then? So now, obviously, I believe in the God of the Bible. This is a Christian channel, okay? And throughout all of history, we see that ancient civilizations destroyed by natural disasters, tornadoes, hurricanes, earthquakes, ash, lava, and even in Scripture, in Genesis 19:24, with sulfur and fire, when Sodom and Gomorrah. Well, think about that, okay? Sulfur and fire. Now, I have to admit this. The location of Pompeii was sort of really stupid, but then also at the same time really good. But they didn't know. These people didn't know, which is kind of a coincidence, though. But one, the soil was fertile. The soil was like really good to grow stuff and, you know, do that type of stuff. The location by the Bay of Naples provided a great trading post, so people were constantly coming through Pompeii. It was like a trading post type area, so they were able to get a lot of people spending and buying and tourists and all that type of stuff. So it wasn't like a bad location. The only bad thing was that they were located by a volcano in which they didn't know was a volcano. Okay, but what did they practice? That's the point, okay? And that's where it gets kind of disgusting and nasty and gruesome, is what they did, okay? So again, I want to remind you, Pompeii is part of Rome. So Pompeii was settled by a group of people, the Oscan people. Was it Oscan or Oscan? I think it was Oscan or Oscan. I don't know. I'm going to say Oscan. The Oscan people, about the 7th century, okay? These people had a daily schedule, just like us. Okay, they got up in the mornings. Okay, they got water at the fountains. Okay, like we would get water, drink some water, or get dressed and, you know, clean ourselves. They would wash themselves in thermal baths, and this is where you got to be like, okay, wow, these people are normal. And then you got to realize what did they do? So thermal baths. I'm gonna explain to you what a thermal bath is. So a thermal bath, this was a large, huge pool, okay? And this is actually, you can look this up on Google and it won't show you any profanity or any bad stuff, okay? It was a big, huge pool, and this is where a lot of the rulers actually went, and people with like money and rich and all that type of stuff. But there was thermal pools all over the place. There was like main pools. I think there was like 3 or 4 pools or something like that in Pompeii or something like that. But the main pool was like really big. This thermal pool was big, okay, and underneath people would have fires made, so in order to heat them. So what took place in the bathrooms, basically the thermal pools, are disgusting and perverted. Let's just say Sodom took place. Now, and people would like to say, no, I never did, blah, blah, blah. The people of Pompeii were so good. They were so innocent. They were so awesome. They had civilizations that could, you know, they could defeat so many empires that tried to attack them. They were so wealthy. Cool. That doesn't excuse what they did in the thermal bath, so. When we look at the drawings on the walls of the bathhouse in Pompeii, I think that makes it clear what happened and what they did at the pools. Okay? So Pompeii was heavily involved in Sodom and out of marriage, and of course, which is a sin according to the words of God. So let's continue. Rome was a powerful government, okay, and killed anyone who spoke against it. So basically communism, dictatorship. What was also a big part of Greece and Rome was prostitution of children and younger teens. Okay, this was big when it came to the generals and leaders. There was even special coins, you could say, that had prostitutes engraved on them, you know, yeah. And again, many of these acts of Sodom were done in the bathhouses, okay? Pompeii was not innocent of anything. They would sacrifice each other to their gods. If you ever studied the gods of Saturn and all these other ridiculous gods that they had, they would kill each other and sacrifice each other in blood oaths and animal sacrifices. Their people worshipped many gods, okay? And so many of these gods required Sodom, child, animal sacrifices, and prostitution and incest, actually. Pompeii was really big into incest. So before Terroriser feels bad about Pompeii, take it this way. Everyone knows that there's a creator, okay? and that the law is written on our hearts. That means that everybody knows by just looking out, they can see that there was a creator, that everything here did not come into random play of atoms bouncing into each other. Now, people can claim that, obviously, but here's the trick of this, okay? Here's the trick. Everybody knows there's a creator. The law is written on our hearts. That means that we know good, right, bad, evil. We know what is morally acceptable and immoral. Okay, it's written on our hearts. But many, okay, this is the thing. But many choose to deny God. We choose to sin. We choose to not obey God's word, and we live in sin. And when we do that, and we constantly reject God, and imagine God standing at a door, knocking at your door, saying, "Hey, let me in. I want to be your friend," or and you just constantly say, "Get out! Stop bothering me. I don't want you." Well, here's the thing. God will eventually give people up to their desires, and therefore God can act as he wishes. People, Pompeii, to have sex with prostitution, children in the bathhouses. They would have sex with their own family members, just like I don't want to mention I'm not going to even go that far. But they partook in a lot of child sacrifice. Okay, they were cruel. The emperors of Rome would literally take, if you were to do anything against the emperor, depending on the emperor, there was a time when the emperor would take a family member of yours and them in front of you. Okay, that was Rome. That was Pompeii. Okay, Pompeii was part of Rome. So I'm just telling you that Pompeii is not innocent of all things. People did good things like help the elderly, but they did a lot of bad things. So God gives us up to the life that we desire. We deny God, therefore we don't know what is right and what is bad anymore. We start to get confused, and we see that a lot. Is that I was talking to an atheist on the streets, and the atheist literally admitted, because I kept on saying, so you don't believe in a God? And he says no. And I said, okay, so do we have free will? And he's like, no. And I said, okay, wow, so we don't have free will, and we're just DNA and atoms bouncing into each other. And he literally said yes. The wife came out, and she apparently writes books about atheism and studies Richard Dawkins and all that type of stuff, Stephen Hawking. And she admitted that because we are bouncing atoms into each other, there's no such thing as free will. We're just reacting. And I asked them that, are we just reacting to our DNA? And she says yes. So I said, what about the Holocaust? Is there anything wrong with the Holocaust? And she says, yes, there is. And I said, well, what's the problem with that if it's just atoms bouncing into each other? And she's like, you know what? You're right. There is nothing wrong with the Holocaust. And I looked at her and I said, there's nothing wrong with the Holocaust? And she's like, no, it doesn't matter if we're just bouncing into each other. I'm like, holy crap, I just got an atheist to admit that the extermination of Jews was nothing. Holy crap. And that's what we get to. You leave a life of law, and you live a life of chaos. Truth versus chaos. And that's why. You search the desires that please you. And I feel bad for Terroriser, because he always... and I hate it when I watch videos of his, and I watch people like other gamers and all that type of stuff, and when like other characters come up on the screen and they're just so fascinated by the girls, they're like, ooh, and like they make this stupid comments like, oh my gosh, and they'll do like, no, I was stupid back then and I'm not doing that stuff anymore. To even make funny content, I used to do that. Yeah, Pompeii was not innocent. So God is the giver of life, okay? And if he is the giver of life, therefore he can take it whenever. He can take it whenever. And Pompeii was a city of immorality and defiance, child prostitution in Sodom, and it actually sounds like a place that I know right now. And yeah, that's America.